Today we've got a 2015 model Toyota RAV4. It's got the 2.2 diesel engine and roughly 83,000 miles on the clock. As part of the service I'll be doing on this RAV today, I'll be changing the oil and filter. And as with every car I do oil and filter on, oh, that just pulls off. I like to loosen or remove the oil filler cap and pull out the dipstick, which just allows air back into the engine as the oil's draining out of the bottom. Hopefully it'll drain a bit smoother. I can't see the oil filter immediately from the top, so that must be accessible from underneath. Yeah, I haven't done one of these before, so that's all a little bit new to me. So underneath this Toyota, as you can see, it's got the belly pan or under tray, which covers the whole front end, but it has got little access panels. That one's actually got the clip missing, so that's been tucked up there. That one is for your sump plug, so you can drain the oil out of there, although you'd have to hold this back somehow. There's another one here which has got the clip in it. I imagine this one's for the oil filter. Oh, yeah. So you just pull that centre part out of the clip first, then the whole thing releases. And then that should, oh, there you go. Yes. So we've got a square drive. That's a bit like a sump plug really. Take that out first, drain down the oil filter, and then undo this plastic housing where the cartridge will be inside. As I'm doing a service, really I want to inspect other components, so I'm going to remove the whole under tray, which looks like a bit more of a job. It's got more of these plastic fittings all around the edges, by the looks of it. Yeah, all the way around, and at the front it's got some 10mm bolts. So yeah, I'm going to crack on and remove the whole under tray, but as I say, you can do the job through these access panels if you want to. Right, so with the whole under tray off, you can get a better look at things. As I say, I only took it off because I'm servicing the car as well, and I just wanted to check the other components underneath. But obviously it gives you a bit more space to work as well. So here we've got the sump plug, which is a 14mm. I'll try and use a single hex socket where possible. It just reduces the chance of rounding off any nuts and bolts and fittings. Of course you can use a spanner or whatever you got to hand really. So this is fairly warm, so hopefully it won't take long to drain down. Drop that in there. Right, I'll leave that down there and let that drain for a while. Right, this has been dripping now for quite a while, down to a steady, slow drip. Before I refit the sump plug, good idea just to have a look at the washer or the seal. It's got like a think that's aluminium and fibre washer there. Just make sure it hasn't been crushed or split. That all looks good. They're usually good to go again several times. Alternatively, you can pick up a new sump plug and washer when you get your parts from your supplier. That's it, lovely. Okay, so next we'll see if we can get this plug out and drain the filter. So we've got a square drive in there. It's just a 3/8 drive ratchet or extension bar you can use. I'm just going to put this adapter on a bigger bar. Probably going to be messy, so I think I'll put a glove on for this. Make sure you've got your drain tray or bucket or whatever you're using ready. Probably going to go everywhere. Ah, well, that did surprise me. I thought it was going to gush out. Okay, well, I'll leave that out and see if I can find a tool to fit on here. You could probably use slide grips, although you've got to be very careful because it is only plastic. So I've got this set. They're not that expensive to buy online. It's just got various different cup sizes for the different filter housings. You can use them on a standard metal spin-on filter as well. I think this is the one. Yeah, that's it. I'm imagining at some point a whole load of oil is going to come out. Oh yeah, I can see it. I don't know why it didn't come out of the drain plug. This is going to be very messy. I might just let that drain down for a little while before I completely remove it. Right, I think the worst of that's drained out now. I'll let all that dribble out and then have a go at changing the filter element. Right, so having opened the box with the new filter, I've now discovered why the oil didn't drain out when I took the sump, not the sump plug, the plug out the bottom of the housing. You get this little gadget in the kit, which once you've removed the plug out the bottom of the housing, you push that up in, which holds the valve open and allows the oil to drain out. I'll have to remember that for future reference. So, with the housing now in the vise, you can see this bit's, God, that is a tight fit. You can actually see in there now the valve, it's got a spring-loaded valve there, which is held down. So once you push this in, it opens the valve and lets the oil drain out. That's it. One new filter. That fits a bit easier than the old one. And on here you've got the O-ring seal. That's it. Got another seal there for the plug that goes in the bottom, so I've left the cup on there for now. That's a bit of a tight fit, and I need it for doing it back up anyway. Right, so we'll go back to the car and get this bolted back in. Right, that should do. So we can get this cup off. It's quite a snug fit, that. That's it. They don't need to be that tight. Can't see on this one, but usually they've got a figure of about 25 Newton meters, which isn't much at all, really. Right, I'll just grab that O-ring. So there it is. That's a new one fitting. Yeah, so where's that plastic thing? If only I'd opened the box earlier. So when you take the plug out of the bottom, you're meant to push that in, which holds that valve open and allows the oil to drain out. Would have been a bit tidier than the way I done it. So, yeah, as I was saying earlier, that is just a 3/8 drive that you need to undo and do that back up. That isn't a special adapter I've got, I just used it because it gives me a little bit more clearance away from the bottom of the car. Right, so put the funnel in there. Make sure the dipstick's still pulled out, this time to allow air out of the engine as the oil's going in, and hopefully it won't come back up through the filler. So when you go to your parts dealer, factors, wherever you decide to get the bits, just make sure you got your registration number with you, and they can look up what's recommended for your particular engine. Now this one, they recommended 5.9 litres of engine oil. I always go slightly below that, so I'll probably put about 5.6 litres in, then run it up and check it on the dipstick. It's just far easier to top up in little dribs and drabs. You need to get as close to the maximum mark on the dipstick as possible without going over it. Having too much oil can cause damage, just like having not enough. It's just easier to do it that way round rather than whack the whole 5.9 litres in and find actually that was a bit too much, and then have to get back underneath and drain some off. Which is why I haven't put the under tray back on yet, because yeah, I've done it before. Right, so that's 4 litres. I'll get another 1.5 or so. It's another 1.6. So oil prices do vary so much depending on what brand you go for, really. I mean, you should be able to get 5 litres for around about sort of £60 mark, 50 to £60. And the oil filter, around about £10 to £15. It's not a genuine Toyota part, but it's a good name brand. Right, fill the cap back on, dipstick in. I'll just fire this up, let it tick over for a few moments. That's all you need to do. You don't need to rev it. It's actually not a good idea to rev an engine, especially if you've not a good idea to rev it straight away, especially if you've just drained the oil, because it takes a little while for it to pick up and build up pressure. But the oil pressure light's gone straight out. That sounds good. It sounds normal. Okay, that'll do. That's all it needs. We'll leave that to stand for 3 or 4 minutes and then check on the dipstick and see how it's doing. So this has sat now for 4 or 5 minutes now. Let's check this and see where it's at. Hopefully somewhere between the minimum and maximum. A bit difficult to see. I think it's about there. That side, well, that's just a mess, that side. I'll dip it again actually. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's there. Oh yeah, that's better. So yeah, we've got a bit more space. It's probably about 5 mil to the maximum. And that was 5.6 litres. They recommended 5.9. So I'll go ahead and put about another 0.2 in it and just dip it again. Just keep repeating that process until you're happy that you're as close to the maximum mark as possible. Right, I'll leave it at that. You don't need to start the engine again because all the galleries, the filter and everything, it's already full of oil when we had it running just now. So I'll just leave that for another 3 or 4 minutes, dip it, and hopefully it'll be close to the maximum. Right, so that's had, I'd say 5.8 litres now. And you can see that's spot on. Maybe slightly under the maximum, but I won't be adding any more to that because the longer the vehicle stands, the more of the residue oil which I've tipped in is going to filter down to the sump and bring that level up. So I'm happy with that. So all that's left to do now is put the engine cover back on. That's it. I literally just push on and pull off, easy enough, and get the under tray back on. Right, the vehicle's all back together, all finished, service is done. As with any job I do, I like to take it for a road test and then bring it back in, make sure there's no leaks. Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully the video's been of some help for you. And if it has, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It'll help our channel out no end. Cheers.